Good morning, cats and kittens, pups and pooches. It's Susie Q96. We're going to search some more pennies. I still got about 14, 15, 16 rolls, and I want to get them completed so I can roll them up tomorrow. I'm going to take off later this afternoon and do a little bit of metal detecting with some friends down at a local park, which we have picked over and picked over. But I'm gonna maybe play with my brother's old detector. I don't think I've ever taken it down there before. See if it turns up something different or anything at all. So look what we found yesterday as an ender on one of the penny rolls. Yes, indeed, we found an engine head. We found an Indian head. In 1899. He's a little bit slick. Looks like somebody shot him in the headdress up there at the top, but I certainly did not expect this as an ender. And I got pretty excited when I saw it because the box has not been producing a whole lot. Good morning, A&M Prospecting. So yeah, we found an engine in here yesterday, and that's why I titled this "Where's the Tribe?" I want some more of these to come out of the box. This was good. So anyway, we turned that up yesterday, and I think it's 16 more rolls I have to go. So I'm trying to knock some of them out here. See if we can create some more excitement. That was the biggest excitement of the box so far. Let's see what this music sounds like that they're offering us for free through Stream Time. StreamYard. Good money. Get your stuff together. I don't care for that one. Let's see what this one sounds like. Yeah, they added some new things in the StreamYard. One of them is background music. But I'm not crazy about their choices. I was trying to figure out if they would give us a way to add more pieces. And that would be really cool if you could go into the royalty-free music library at YouTube and add some different things. Most of these are too sleepy for me. I need a little more upbeat music when I'm doing stuff. And I don't want to listen to the same one all the time. Their rock selection is okay, but I don't want to listen to it every stream. It's not my theme song or anything. That's probably what I'm going to end up going back to because the choices are not. Alright, well, we'll just play that in the background for right now. And we'll bust open this roll here. Yeah, that was fun because when I saw it on the ender, I knew way before everybody else did that it was coming, and I could hardly get the roll open. I was like, yes, finally, something, woo! Yes. And I was fumbling all around. I was afraid I was going to dump the roll out and shoot it across the living room or something. But yeah, that was a good find. And there was also one wheat penny in that roll as well. So that was the best roll of the box so far. Oops, I gotta dump my little containers out. make room for more. Put those in the big copper hopper, which I'm going to weigh later. And the other thing I decided, I've never done this before with a penny box when I've searched boxes, but since I've kept all of the decent finds over here for an end of box wrap up, I decided that we're going to look all those up and see what the actual value of everything that we have saved from this box totals to. That includes weighing the copper and looking up the Wheaties and the Indian head, which Archaeology Mikey already looked up the Indian head, and he says in the condition it's in, it's worth about $5. So I thought, well, let's just tally up what the value of the items that we are finding total to, and see, kind of calculate out how much per hour am I making by looking through the box. That could be an interesting total. There's a copper. But I've just never looked at the box that way before, so I thought that might be how we're going to wrap this box up. Let's look and see if we got a DDO. I'm sure this is not one. No, everything looks nice and crispy. No double dye there. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever searched a box online where I actually stopped online and looked for things like wide AMs and DDOs. I'm still not looking for all the possibilities simply because it would be so incredibly time consuming. But I am doing some of it online now, where I used to do that only when I was rolling the coins, because I am a little bit slow. But I made a list of some of the things to look for, just to remind me. You know, other people may be interested, or I may not be sure on some of them. So, like the 92 is one that you check for the close AM, which, as you can see here, this is not a close AM. In America, on a close AM, the bottom of the A and the bottom of the M are actually touching each other. There's not really a space between the two. So we didn't get one. I have found a couple in this roll on the 2000 penny that I was looking for AM issues. So I'm gonna try to speed up my process a little bit by pulling out most of the shield pennies, just because I don't want to be here 157 years, and I don't like shield pennies. I think the taxpayers of the United States should sue the government for false advertising for even calling them pennies. Yeah. Crud. I really don't like them when I'm out detecting, because I find like parts of them and they're not even, you can't spend them, you can't turn them into the bank, the mint won't take them back, even though their page says they will. If you actually attempt to return them to the mint and get them replaced, they will not do it. So they're basically just junk. I got a couple ideas what I'm going to do with some of them, but in general, I just think they're awful. Okay, I picked a few more junkers out. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Mark. One little, two little, three little engines. Where's the rest of them, please? 1984. That was an interesting book. A lot of the things that were in it have actually come to pass, unfortunately. That was required reading when I was in school. It's funny, back when I was in school, there were books that they wanted us to read, and people threw fits. Oh, you can't have high school kids exposed to that. Looking for the White AM, it was not there. 1984 was one of those controversial books. Now, I have an interesting question about 1990 pennies. They say that there are 1990 proof pennies that should have had an S on them, but they did not. How would you know? If you ran across one that someone had taken from a proof set and put out in the general public, how would you know that that was a proof if it didn't have the mark on it? Just something to ponder. How would you know? Let's check our AM on this 2000. We are hoping for a wide AM. Are we going to get one? Maybe yes, maybe no. Nope, we didn't get one. Yeah, I got some stuff I'm going to be working on this weekend. There's going to be a lot of changes on this channel starting next week. I got ideas. I got into a interesting, right in the tail end of a real interesting discussion last night on Michael Kittle's rare coins. And the more I watch Michael Kittle, which I've been watching him since I first started, the more I watch him, the more I like him. I agreed with pretty much everything he was saying last night. And those of you who were in there at the end of his stream know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people. Well, he was talking about he was talking about a lot of the publicity that's going on about the Grove, Oklahoma coin show that is making that show sound like it's a lot bigger and better and more powerful than it is, and it's kind of persuading people to trying to persuade people to travel across the country to attend it. And in actuality, as was pointed out last night, there's no airport in Grove, Oklahoma. There's really not any place to stay, and it's really not a great big coin show like people are making it sound. And his concern was he wasn't bad-mouthing the show in any way, shape, or form. He was just merely pointing out to people that if they're considering going, traveling 1,000, 2,000 miles to this coin show, to be aware that it's not the big show that it's being portrayed as, and that you might be disappointed. Your money might be better spent going to one of the larger shows if you are looking for the big variety. And I just thought it was an interesting discussion. And someone else had mentioned that people were billing it as this big YouTube meetup, and in actuality, it's a meetup of maybe 2 or 3 channels, some of whom I watch and some I don't. But there were some interesting opinions being expressed in regards to that, and I had to agree with him that, you know, you really need to do your homework when you get an event being promoted to you and it sounds like, you know, oh, it's going to be a big event and I'm going to be able to find all kinds of great bargains and I'm going to be able to meet all these YouTube celebrities, and I'm making air quotes. I'm making air quotes when I call anybody on YouTube a celebrity. But you really do have to stop and look at things like, um, is it going to be worth me spending $4 a gallon on gasoline, and I'm still going to have to drive like an hour or so to get to the venue because there's no hotels, and there were a lot of practical comments. He wasn't bad mouthing the show in any way. He was just trying to point out the practicality. Is that really the big show it says it is? And this is for any show, not just the one in Grove. You know, is the show going to be worth the investment to get to it? And if you're looking to set up at a show, is it going to be worth hauling your collection across the country and paying for a table, and then there may or may not be the crowd there to actually allow you to make any money? So it was a really interesting discussion, and it gave me some ideas for things for my own channel. So I may try some things out next week and see what people think about it. You know, it made me look at other aspects of collecting and also of metal detecting. Oh, I think we're in the wheat field. We got a wheatie sweetie. There's a little wheat field soul right there in 1958. Boom! Good morning, Mr. Lincoln. Thank you for dropping into my home. Now, if this were one of the very, very ultra rare DDO 1958s, we'd be rich and I could go to any darn show I wanted to. According to the Red Book, only 3 exist or have been found so far. In the 1921 edition, they say only 3 have been found. Yep, I have found 3 58s. None of them have been the fancy DDO. But I can show you that they're not all the same one because... Oops, that's the 72S. Where did I put the other ones? I lay all of them aside. So, oh, that's the Lincoln log cabin that looks like it's been burned down. It's over here somewhere, but yeah, you'll see in the wrap up, I have been hitting 58s. There's the one. Another one. Anyway. At this point, I'm just happy I'm hitting any. There's an 80. Turn the fan on in here. And later on this afternoon, I'm going to go out and do a little detecting with my friends Fig and Tommy. Fig's got a church work day this morning, so after he gets done over there, he's gonna message me and I think we're just going to a local park that I'm thinking I'm gonna play with the detector that my brother gave me. Start trying to acclimate to it because I got to send my Simplex off to get a crack in the screen repaired. So I'm going to start playing with that Calico branded Bounty Hunter Discovery. I found a couple channels last night where they have a number of videos using that particular machine. Okay, so okay, let's check, see if we got a DDO here. No, that looks pretty clean to me. That doesn't look, I don't see any signs of doubling, but it is copper. So anyway, I'm gonna go play with that one for a while. I do have 2 coils for that. I have the regular one that it came with, and then I have a little sniper coil that is supposed to be good for picking out good signals from trash. That may be one to play with down at this park, because there is a tremendous amount of trash in this park. They have the annual Galax Fiddlers Convention down there, and they've also had things like lawnmower races and demo derbies, and so there's a lot of weird metal in the ground in this particular park. And so I think I may go down there, and first I'm just going to use the regular coil. So that's probably all I'm going to do today, but I think that is going to be a good place to try out the other coil that I have for the machine. I don't know how much it's going to cost me to repair my Simplex. If it's too much, I'm not going to do it, because if it's going to cost me $200 to replace a screen on a $250 machine, the machine still works. It's just no longer waterproof because there's a crack in the screen. But if it's going to cost me too much to repair that one, I'm not even going to send it off. I'll just have to do without the waterproof function until I can purchase another waterproof machine down the line. But if I do send it off, at least I have this other one that I can play with, and we might get some interesting video from it by going back over the same areas I've already detected in the past and going over them with this machine that my brother purchased 20 years ago. The machine is still in production. People still use them, and they're in about the same price point as my Simplex. Of course, they're not nearly as advanced as the Simplex, but they appear to be a decently made machine. The fact that the company is still manufacturing them 20 years later says something for the reliability of that model. So I'm probably going to take that down there today, because the last time I was at that park, it wasn't really yielding too much anyway with the Simplex. So I may as well just take the other machine down there to see what we do. We're thinking we may get some fresh drops, as there have been some soccer events down there, and so there's been a lot of people running around out in the fields, and there have been a lot of people spectating. So hopefully there have been some depositors down there. Fig told me he found, quote, some jewelry, but he did not tell me what he found yesterday. So anyway, this afternoon it's supposed to be 70 degrees and partly cloudy. And that sounds like good detecting weather to me. I don't like hot, I don't like cold, and it's not supposed to be windy. So little Susie gonna head down to the park. It's not very far from my house. That's the other reason I'm not really driving around a lot. It's pretty close. I can get there on the back roads, and I mean, I can see to drive. It's just I have now finally adjusted myself to seeing the way I see, but The doctors say I can do it, so I'm a gonna. Why not? Maybe I'll find an Indian head down there. It's been known to happen in that park. Park's been. Uh, let's see if we got any doubling. No DDO here. But while I'm hanging out waiting to do that, let's try and finish this box of pennies. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to take them back to the bank with the crazy lady down there that called me wanting me to pay her back $4.50 that one of her tellers was short. And they have absolutely no proof that who she gave the $4.50 shortfall to. But they've decided it was me, and they called me and wanted me to bring it back. I'm thinking very seriously about putting $4.50 worth of pennies in a Ziploc bag and taking them down there. But I don't want to really be a smart ass, and I don't really want to change banks because I have been using the same company for over 25 years, and if I change banks, then I got to redo all of my auto deposits and my auto pays, and it will screw my bills up, and I just don't want to go through that headache. So, but our town is so small, you have to deal with the same tellers all the time. Nope, no wide, because I think they only have two. And yeah, it's not a matter of the 450. It's just a matter of I in my whole life I've never had a bank call me and say our teller made a mistake and we want you to make it right. I don't understand that. I would have just told the teller, hey, be more careful, or told the teller you need to make up the 450. But I don't think I would have called my bank customer of over 25 years and said, I want you to give me some money to cover the loss. Yep, the tribe is strong. I hope it is. I'm hoping for some more Indians, please. Where's my Indians? Oh my gosh! Look what we got, peeps. We got us a 1917 Wheatie. Yeehaw! Boom! Boom, a boom, a boom. Look what we got. Boom, chaka, laka, boom. How about that, guys? We did get something while we were just sitting here. Yay, yay, yay. Let's see what we can do here to celebrate some excitement. Pay attention, people. We got a Wheatie.
Hey, Mikey!
I made a short version of Mikey. Whistle Pig, good morning. Mikey likes this. Yeehaw, 1917. Let's look at the reverse. It's showing its age, but you got to remember this thing's over 100 years old and it's been floating around in and out of people's pockets. Could have been around the world for all we know. This penny could tell us some stories. It sure would. 1917. I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. That's the oldest coin in the box in the Wheatie division. The oldest coin in the box so far is our 1899 Indian head that jumped out last night as a roll ender. So I'm happy with that. Wedged in here between all of these shield pennies and stinking zinkins, we found a 1917. Yippee. Was not expecting that. That was a good one. A good morning, Paula. Yeah, that was a good one. And I'm just trying to finish the rest of this box so I can roll them all back up, return them to their home at the bank. Yeah, I bet you that penny did buy some candy. Yeah, I sure do. Some little kid went down to the store with that clutched in his fist, going down there to look at Tootsie Rolls and Bazooka bubble gum and peppermint sticks, candy cigarettes. What were those? Bit-O Honeys. My mom loved those Bit-O Honey. I like them too. But yeah, I bet that probably went down to the candy store more than one time. Yeah, kids have no idea how much fun that was back when we were little, to go in and have all the different candies loose in little containers, and you just stuck your little paw in there and got you one or two of these, one or two of those. Jawbreakers. Anybody remember Boston baked beans, which were not really beans at all? They were peanuts covered with chocolate. I love those things. Oh man, they were good. They was good. But yeah, it was so much fun because you didn't have to like buy a whole bag of the same kind of candy. You could try things out. You know, you just get you one of these and you know, or a couple of them, and then if you didn't like it, you traded it to your friend for something else and let them try it out. But now you don't really get to do that. You kind of have to buy a whole bag of one, and if you don't like it, you've spent $1 or now $1.25 over at the dollar. That used to be Dollar Tree. Candy corn, yeah, that was another one. You could get a little bag that had like 5 little candy corns in it, and 1 cent in 1919 is worth 17 cents today. You can get some candy, that's for sure. Hang on, gang, I gotta turn the fan on. It's stuffy in here. And M3 thinks it's cold. Now, one thing a lot of people don't know about cats is their temperature is actually almost 20 degrees cooler than ours, even with their little fur coats. So M3 thinks it's cold in here, and so I have this little heater, one of those ones that looks like a radiator, and he loves it. That's his heating box, and he's down there with his paws stuck under the base of it with his face about 2 inches away from it. And if I turn it off, he will throw a fit, but it makes it very stuffy over here in this section of the room. So I got to have the fan going, and yeah, Bazooka bubble gum with the little comic inside, and yeah. Then there was Double Bubble. That was another one of the bubble gums. It was Double Bubble. It was, Bazooka was square in a little sealed up package, and Double Bubble was kind of this big glob that had twisted ends on the package, but it didn't have the comics in it. So yeah. A lot of candy probably got purchased with that 1917 Wheatie. Let's see if we got any wide AM. Come on, turn around here. I don't know about that one. That one's iffy. I don't think that's really wide. A lot of shields in this roll I just opened. I'm so excited that I'm going detecting this afternoon. Oh, I was so happy when the doctor told me I could do that. Uh-oh.
Hey, Mikey!
Morning, Mikey. Mikey missed. Egg, cheese, and sausage sandwich. Well, I just woke up too when I hit this 1917 Wheatie we got a couple minutes ago. You were tardy on that one, young man. Yeah. Still haven't gotten another Indian, but a 1917 Wheatie was pretty darn good. Happy with that. Now I think Mikey cooks his own. I don't think he does McDonald's much. He's got an interesting dietary plan, though. Yeah, I that's what I thought. I seem to have Power Washer Simulator. I was enjoying the end of his auction preview. That discussion they were having in there, I could relate to some of that, and I've talked about it earlier in this stream. I don't want to visit it too much because I don't want anybody thinking I'm bad mouthing. It's like Kittle had last night. I don't want people to think I'm bad mouthing the people that are doing the Grove show. I just, like him, question whether or not you're going to really get the value for your buck by going to a show out in the middle of nowhere where there's no airport, no hotels, no amenities. And let's face it, folks, there are a lot of cliques in the coin community. There are little groups that all think their group is the best set of channels, and that's fine. You know, you have to promote yourself and all of that, but I'm just one of those people that I would have to sit down and evaluate what kind of coins am I actually going to have access to at a show, wherever it is. What kind of amenities, how much is it going to cost me in the overall, and are there enough people going to be there that I would personally want to meet and hang out with to make it worth going? And that show, I would not pay $2,000-$3,000 to go to a show in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. I just wouldn't. I would, like Mr. Kittle suggested, go to one of the larger shows in a larger metropolitan area where there would be plenty of places to stay, plenty of places to eat, an airport to fly in and out of, car rentals, better gas prices, other things to do, and a better selection of quality merchandise that I know is certified and so forth. So, Red Barn burger, fries, and drinks for 99 cents. Heck, I remember when I was a little kid going to Burger Chef. They were the first ones that had a kid's meal, and I think it was 19 cents for a burger, fries, and a small drink. And I loved Burger Chef. It was right by our house, and we lived out on the edge of town, but I could walk to it. And then they built a McDonald's there, and they kind of forced our burger chef out. It's actually more in some places, Mikey, particularly out west, where gas is running up to $7 a gallon. Oh, we got somebody sneaking in here in this roll. This lady just sneaked in here. There's our first Canadian of the box. Yes, indeed. There's Elizabeth, and the second has crept into our live stream here. And let's see how far back she time traveled from. They don't make pennies in Canada anymore, so I am keeping my Canadian pennies. She is a 2000 Canadian penny. Woohoo! We got it. Your dad says it's healthier to eat the McDonald's wrappers. That's about right, too. Oh my gosh. I saw this thing the other night about McDonald's filet of fish. And if I have to eat at McDonald's, that's what I usually get, because I thought I was ordering something a little healthier. But as it turns out, a filet of fish sandwich has almost 700 calories. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm eating that crap. Now, I have another line about McDonald's that I have been using since the 1980s, speaking of 1980. And my comment about McDonald's was a Big Mac attack, because that's what they used to call it in their commercial advertising, was that you were having a Big Mac attack and you needed to run down there and get a Big Mac. Well, my line was always the Big Mac attack was what you got after you ate at McDonald's. If I ate one of those things, it would tear my digestive system apart. So I would just always tell people, hey, Big Mac attack's what you get after you eat there. Not what you get, not the craving, it's the after effect. But yeah, I had no idea that the filet of fish was that bad. So I won't be eating those anymore. I hardly ever go to McDonald's, but my niece and her kids love to go there, and so they will sometimes bring me. Nope, no wide AM. They will sometimes bring me McDonald's things, and truly the only thing I like from McDonald's is their sweet tea. I'll get a big old glass of tea, but I don't really care for their food. I do like the tea, though, and especially when I am in Michigan, where they don't really understand what sweet tea is. I'm a Southern girl. I got to have some sweet tea, and it's one of the few places up there that I can actually get sweet tea that tastes like sweet tea. In Michigan, they believe that if you want sweet tea, that you should just take a glass of tea and a spoon and put some sugar in it and stir it up. That's not sweet tea. That's a glass of tea with a bunch of white powder floating around in the bottom of it. That's not sweet tea. So that is the one thing that I will go through a McDonald's for, but I'm just not crazy about it. Good morning, Jericho and Hercules Prospecting. Howdy hi, howdy ho. We're still working on that penny box. Last night we got us a $18.99. Was it $18.99? Yeah, let's look at it again. We got us an Indian. Yeah, $18.99 Indian head. That was the ender on one of my rolls last night. Yeah, that was pretty good, 94D. And then this morning we got a 1917 Wheatie that jumped out at us, and a 2000 Canadian. Let's see if we got a DDO here. So far we have had no luck finding any DDOs on the 95s, but we're checking up. Paula says, remember when $1 got you into the Saturday afternoon movie, bag of popcorn, Snickers bar, Orange Crush, and you gave your daddy back 15 cents? Oh, when I was a kid, it wasn't even $1. You got all that stuff for 50 cents. And they had this thing where I grew up. There was a local brand of potato chips called TK potato chips. And if you saved your little bag from your TK potato chips and a cap from an RC cola bottle, you could go down to the Saturday matinee and get in for free. You brought them your bottle cap and your bag. And of course, the companies were reimbursing the theater for those. But yeah, we would go look all around wherever there was a soda machine and look on the ground and stuff and see if we could find an RC cap, so we didn't have to actually spend our money on a soda. We just go looking for the caps. That was our early form of metal detecting. We wanted to find a bottle cap back then. And then there was another theater that had I forgot what the product was, but if you brought their wrapper at a quarter, you got in and you got all of your popcorn and everything. And we were poor, so we would be scrounging for this stuff. I distinctly remember being at school and fishing whatever wrapper I needed to get into the movie out of a trash can, because I couldn't afford to buy the product, but I wanted to get in the movie. So I'd go scrounge up my wrappers, and of course we looked for pop bottles, take them down, cash them in, get 2 cents was what it was when I first started doing it. And then later they went up to being worth a nickel, and then a dime, and then they started doing the no return bottles, and I hated that because that cut into my money. Even when I was in college, I would stop and pick up bottles and cans because I was going on scholarships and grants. And even, like I said, even in college, I was doing that kind of thing, whatever it took to save some money. And I'm that way to this day. My last movie on the big screen was The Princess Bride. I don't go to the theater. I can't afford it. My sister and her husband like to go about once a month, and I just can't do it. But the last time I was in a movie theater, I'm going to say, was in the 90s. I know what the movie was, but I can't remember what year it came out. I think 1997. I went to see a politically based movie, so I don't want to really get into a discussion of it, but somebody paid for me to go see it. And it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but the amount of money we spent just to go for 2 people to watch this movie and have popcorn and a drink, I could have bought a week's worth of groceries easily. Yeah, like I said, I could have bought, and we went to the matinee, the cheap one, but I could have easily bought a week's worth of groceries with what my sister spent to take me to see this movie. It's just not something that I invest in. No DVO there. And I also do not have cable TV. I do have a streaming service that came free with my internet, and I watch plenty of movies and things on there. So I just don't see the need. I would prefer to make my own snack I have a big enough TV, you know, that's a big enough screen for me, and I don't have to listen to somebody's kid screaming and some couple fighting over what kind of popcorn butter they should get. And, you know, I just prefer to curl up in my jammies and make my own snack and watch the movie that way. And now there's so many of the movies that they hardly even do a theater run. They almost automatically go to the streaming service to begin with. So, well, I'll tell you what the movie was in case anybody has seen it. It was kind of an obscure movie. It starred Matthew McConaughey, and it was called The Free State of Jones. And it was based on a true story about a county in the South that during the Civil War declared themselves a free state. They were not part of the Confederacy. They were not part of the Union. They declared themselves a free state. So they were having to fight both sides because they were in a crucial area that both the Confederate Army and the U.S. Army wanted control of. And it's a really interesting movie, but some people found it offensive because it does involve interracial relationships and different things like that. But it was a very well done movie, and I'm glad I went to see it, but the amount of money we spent to see it, I did not think I personally would have spent. We went on a matinee, and I think it cost us $10 to get in, and then we still had to pay for our popcorn and our candy and our drink. So I'm saying it was around $20 to $25 per person for an hour and a half movie. And like I said, the whole time I was sitting there, as much as I enjoyed watching the movie, my thought was, man, I could have bought a week's worth of groceries with this. You know, it just, to me, I've trained myself to pay for necessities first, and then if I have anything left, I will occasionally treat myself. I used to love to go to concerts. You know, I love live music, but concert tickets, outrageous. And I have set a personal mark for myself on concert tickets, and 3 for the pony bottles, 5 for the regular, and 12 for the big bottles. Yeah, but I think I'm older than you, Paula. We didn't have a separate price for the little bottles. They paid the same as the other ones, and they were all, when I started, at 2 cents. And different states also had different return prices on the bottles. Oh, we got so close to the wheat field on that one. We're hung up on the fence. But, yeah, I just don't see spending that much money to go to a movie, nor do I see. I like Starbucks coffee, but $4 or $5 for a cup of coffee, I can buy some really decent coffee. I mean, really good coffee for maybe $7, $8 a pound. I like to grind my own coffee beans. So, but that pound of coffee at home, that will last me for months for the cost of a cup of coffee or 2 cups of coffee at a specialty coffee shop. Again, I would rather spend my money on something else. I mean, I don't have a problem if people can afford that and they want to do it. I had a friend down in Georgia. She used to crack me up. She went to the Goodwill and found a Starbucks coffee cup. And she bought it for, I think it was 50 cents or something. And every morning she would make her coffee at home and then she would put it in her Starbucks cup and go to work. And so everybody thought she was stopping at Starbucks every day and getting this high dollar coffee when in actuality it was right out of her coffee pot. But the illusion was that she was well off enough to be stopping there every day. I don't know why people are so impressed with that kind of stuff. I am more. Yeah, see, I'm 5 years older than you, and I was raised in Florida. So, Paula, we're kind of way, way apart. And like I said, each state kind of had their own. The reason I'm stuck on this penny is I'm looking at the rim of this penny. If you see just above Liberty, up until that point it comes down, you've got like two distinct lines on the rim, and then the rim appears to get wider as it comes around the coin. Except that one little section above the L. I don't know what's going on there, but I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, I'm funny about money. That should be I should do a whole show on that. I'm funny about money. I grew up really poor until I was about 6 or 7. I didn't know we were poor, but I went to school with a lot of very wealthy, I mean, really wealthy people. And that's when I started getting bullied about my clothes and stuff. And I wanted to join the Brownies, and we didn't have the money for the uniform. And, just things like that started creeping into my life. And that was when I realized we were poor. And then my dad got sick and we were really poor. And when you go to school with very wealthy kids, I mean, the kids we went to school with, their dads were doctors, lawyers, senators. And it was an eye-opener to realize that you're poor and to have people degrade you constantly about your clothes and stuff. So I learned frugality very quick. I learned where, first of all, I learned how to get money, and one of those ways very early on in my life was picking up pop bottles and looking for loose change on the ground. I'd be looking for pennies in parking lots and stuff like that. And then I learned where the thrift store was for what was called the Junior League, which was a social group for rich women. And I would go take my change down to the Junior League thrift store and buy the rich people's handoff clothes. So at least I had clothes that I kind of fit in with the other kids. And then one day I discovered rock and roll, and then I really didn't care. I wanted to dress like Mick Jagger. I wanted to dress like John Lennon. I wanted to look like the Kinks and the Who and the Beatles' Girlfriends and Twiggy. And so then, my mom had taught me how to sew. So I started making my own clothes, and then I really stuck out, but I didn't care anymore. I didn't want to play that game. And so I just didn't. And Was I picked on for it? Hell yeah. Because I refused to conform. And I still refuse to conform. I'm 70 years old and they call me the liberal hippie in the building. They don't like me here because I don't conform. Oh well, you know. And that's why we have a constitution that gives us rights to freedom of speech, and we are all allowed to have our own opinions. How incredibly boring our country would be if we all had to do the exact same thing and vote for the exact same person, listen to the exact same music. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be so boring? Look at all the wonderful things we would have missed out on in life if we all had to do that. Oh yeah, the coolest thing when I was a kid, we had a lumber company that was down at the end of our street. We lived on a dirt road kind of out on the edge of town. We weren't quite on the wrong side of the tracks, but if we went another 300, 400 yards, we would have been. But this lumber company went out of business when I was about 14. And Goodwill moved their great big warehouse where they sorted all of the things out and sent them off to the different Goodwill stores. They moved that into where the lumber company had been, down at the end of our street. And they installed this big, huge row of dumpsters. There was probably 10 of them. And they would throw things away in those dumpsters that were better than some of the stuff they were putting in the stores. But they would just get so much stuff, they couldn't distribute it all. So they just throw it in the dumpster. And one of my cousins who lived right next door to me, she was a couple years younger, we would go down to those dumpsters just about every day when that place closed and dumpster dive, which now is a big thing. A lot of people do it, but we were doing it in the 60s. And we would find furniture and clothes and jewelry and things we could fix up and sell, things we could fix up and put in our houses. If we found a good piece of furniture, we'd run back down the dirt road and get my dad or my aunt or somebody to come down, and we'd carry that piece of furniture back. My mom knew how to do upholstery, and you know, we would fix that stuff up, and that was, you know, that was our stuff. My cousin pulled a box out of there one day, had this absolutely beautiful wedding dress in it. I mean, gorgeous. And it was preserved in the acid-free storage box and everything. She sold that. She was 14, you know, she sold that wedding dress for a lot of money. We figured out how to have what we needed. But, you know, now I'm on Social Security and I have a lot of medical issues. And on occasion, I do run out of money and have to ask for help. But most of the time, I can cover what I need to cover. When I was sick, I couldn't do my little side hustles. And so I have gotten myself into a little financial problem right now, but I'm working my way out of it. And now that I can drive again and I can go detecting, I mean, people laugh, you know, because I'll find, oh, I found $2 today. Oh, wow, you know. Other detecting channels are going, oh, wow, you only found $2? You know, I found all this, yada, yada. But if you take that $2 and 5 times a week you find $2, that's $10 a week, that's $40, that's some bill that I get to pay. You know, or I find a gold ring. Oh, look, you know, I just found $100. You know, people don't always look at it that way. They're not in the big picture, I guess, or they've never been poor. Once you've been poor, and most people, and I'm one of them, I was poor, and then I decided I was going to go to college, and I got a decent education, and I didn't end up with a whole lot of student loans because I researched and got a lot of small scholarships and some grants, and I worked 2 jobs just about every minute that I was attending college, and it took me twice as long as other people to finish college because I would have to quit and save up some more money. But by the time it was all said and done, I had one loan that I had to pay back that was $660. So by doing that, I was able to get a good job that paid good money, and like everybody else, I went stupid. I did not do good financial planning. I spent a lot of money on hobbies and interests, the biggest one being stock car racing. And I will tell everyone right up front, the way to make a small fortune in racing is to start with a big one, because you can spend a lot of money real fast and have not much to show for it but a trophy sitting on your mantelpiece. But do I regret doing that? No, I had a ball. Do I regret that I didn't put money away for my retirement? Yeah, I regret that a great deal. But life is a learning experience, and I'm paying for some of that now by not being able to do all the things that I would like to do. Like, I have a car that it is on its last leg. It has 247,000 miles on it. It's not something I would drive to Florida, but I'll drive it to the local pharmacy to pick up my medication, or over to the store for a carton of milk or a bottle of milk. They don't really come in cartons anymore, I guess. And then you don't plan for things sometimes, like divorce. You don't plan for that. You don't plan on having an ex who waits until you're lying in intensive care to push your divorce through. And so I ended up not being able to contest the divorce and lost $300 a month of my income. And that's where I've gotten into this problem now. But I'm about to come out the other side of it, so it'll be all right. I'm just going to have to back up, regroup, do things a little differently. But one of those things I am going to be doing differently is you don't see me getting boxes of coins very often. And the reason I got them this time was I needed something to do while recuperating from this brain biopsy. Because the doctor, when he was describing this to me, told me that the recovery time was going to be about 2 months, and that my eye was going to be swollen shut and all this stuff. Okay, this one I'm putting under here now, I just knocked off, and I need to see where it goes. Okay, that's not a new find. I just needed to put it back where it belonged. Used to be addicted to coffee, Coke, and cigarettes. Now I'm boring and just drink water. I used to be addicted to cigarettes and Pepsi and coffee. Now I may have a cup of coffee 2-3 times a week. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I don't smoke. I quit smoking at age 55. This one looks like something somebody dug out of the dirt right here. It's kind of got that red clay look about it. But Yeah, I had to make an executive decision one day right after my 55th birthday. I was at a friend's house and I was sitting in front of his house getting ready to go home and realized I had 2 cigarettes, my 5-liter Mustang that was it was so rusted out, people in town called it the Crustang. My Mustang was on empty. Cigarettes had just hit $4 a pack, and gas was $4 a gallon. So I had to make and of course the car was on empty. So I had to make a decision. What am I going to do with this $5 bill I have? I've got a pack of cigarettes, has 2 left in it. I got a car on empty, and I am about 7 miles from my house. So what am I going to do? So I ended up deciding I was going to put the gas in the car and get home. And I smoked the last 2 cigarettes in that pack. And I had no income at the time. I had separated from my husband and was staying with my mother as her caretaker, but I had no income of my own other than selling jewelry once a week in front of a little coffee house on Monday nights, and so I might make $15, $20, you know, and that would be my gas and cigarette money. So I had to make the executive decision to quit smoking, and I never have smoked again. So I made the right call, because one of the things I learned when I quit smoking, there's a disease called ulcerative colitis. It is an autoimmune disorder that affects your digestive system, particularly your large intestine. And I had always had stomach problems, but the doctor said, oh, it's GERD or it's acid reflux, and they just give me some pills and send me on down the road. Well, I learned that nicotine will mask the symptoms of ulcerative colitis. And after all the nicotine worked its way out of my system from 40 years of smoking, I became violently ill. And it turned out that my intestine was in a precancerous stage from being destroyed by ulcerative colitis. And I ended up having 3 surgeries, being in the hospital for 6 months, lost my large intestine, but I'm alive. A lot of people don't know this. They continue smoking, and the symptoms of the disease are masked by the nicotine, and they die from it. One of the members of the band, the Eagles, died that way. And his family sued the doctors for not having properly tested him and not having warned him about the dangers of smoking. They did the same thing with him. They just kept telling him, you know, it's acid reflux, here, take these Prilosec or you know, whatever medication they were giving him. But yeah, had I not run into that financial dilemma one day where I had to make the choice, do I want cigarettes or do I want gasoline? That disease would have killed me. So yeah. Oh my God. 1 cup of coffee and 30 beers. Oh my gosh, that sounds like my friend Tommy. God bless his soul. We lost him 2-3 years ago because he just could not give up the beer. He would drink 20-30 beers a day. And I tried to help him, but I couldn't. And he ended up having a stroke. And he passed away. So sad, because he was my friend for 50 years. But yeah, we do a lot of stupid stuff, you know. And sometimes you just have to make those decisions. Which thing do I want to give up? ginger beer and nicotine fixes my ulcerative colitis. I have a friend down in Florida who has UC, and he has not had the surgery. He's trying to control his with medication. And when he has to play a gig, he's a musician. When he has to play, he will actually put a nicotine patch on so that it controls the nicotine in his system so that he doesn't have a UC attack while he's on stage. It's an odd way to handle the situation, but that's what he does. I'll be right back with another roll, folks. I gotta get a beverage. And I'm back. Yeah, the UC thing is one of the reasons I don't drink very much soda pop. I will once in a while have one of the little tiny bottles of Coca-Cola, but most of the time I don't drink any kind of soda except ginger ale, and it's got to be Vernors. Got to have my Vernors ginger ale. The original ginger ale, created in the fine state of Michigan back in the 1800s. And I will drink that because, as Paula mentioned, ginger, or no, I think it was Spud that mentioned ginger is good for the upset of ulcerative colitis. Now, I unfortunately lost my large intestine. I have this internal pouch called a J pouch rather than having an ostomy bag, which I did have one of those for a while. That was awful because I lived in Florida and that stuff didn't want to stick. That could turn into an ugly consequence. Okay, I got another roll open here. Haven't seen anything good for a while. We're about due for a Wheatie or an Indian Raid or the Queen to show up from Canada. Something needs to happen here. But one of the lovely side effects of having had that surgery is that my body doesn't always absorb vitamins and minerals and that kind of stuff, because the mechanism that's supposed to take care of that is no longer in my body. So I end up taking all these supplements. I have to have vitamin B shots, and I have to take extra potassium, and I have to take extra this and that. No wide there. But I'm alive, you know. It's like the doctor told me, you know, the consequences of not getting the surgery would have probably been a whole lot worse, and I wouldn't be sitting here looking for Indian head pennies now. Yeah, so I consider myself, even with all the health problems I have, I consider myself to be pretty blessed that I have been able to survive most of them. I almost didn't survive this last one, this pulmonary embolism. That was a bad one, but I've made it, so here we be. Let me see what else is going on we can talk about besides health. We've talked about health and financial welfare. Bullies. Yeah, I found out the other day, people like to harass other YouTubers sometimes. I just think that's a fun hobby. That's why we have trolls. And I found out the other day somebody months and months ago made a video talking about what a horrible person I am because I asked for money when I needed help. But the most interesting thing in the video to me was that the person had made a comment that I had 9 aliases and was using all these aliases to ask for money. I have 3 YouTube channels. All of them have my It's Susie Q attached to them. Everybody knows they're my channels. I would really like to know what the other aliases are, because if any of those channels are monetized, I want the money, honey. Because, nope, I don't have any aliases. It's Susie Q96. That's me. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, really? And people believe this shit? Oh, oops, sorry, I said a bad word. But no, I don't have 9 aliases. I have 3 channels. 4 if you count the one that I run for Question Mark and the Mysterians, the 60s band. But my 3 channels are Oh Susie Q Jewelry and Decor, which is my handcrafted jewelry channel. I have one called Rootbound Genealogy with Susie Q96, which is my family history channel. I really don't have much of anything on it. It's an inactive channel. And I have this channel. So if someone is out there telling you I have 9 aliases, I don't have time. I don't even have time to keep the other 2 channels going. I've just recently gotten well enough to keep this one up to speed. So if you happen to have seen that video 5 or 6 months ago, there's little to no truth in what is said in there in regards to me. But especially, I don't have 9 aliases. I have, like I said, 3 channels, and then as the publicist for Question Mark and the Mysterians, I have a small channel for them that I haven't even had time to properly develop. So anyway, I happened to be informed about that the other night. I didn't even know it existed because I didn't really pay that much attention to the whole deal when it was going down. But anyway, I don't have all these accounts that I supposedly have. Never have, don't have time for it. Don't play those kind of games. 1992, we're looking for the close AM, and we got the wide. Nada. Yeah, shit happens. It do. Yeah. I try not to cuss too much because I do have some kids that come in sometimes. They're mostly in my metal detecting streams, though. Boy, that one's pretty weak. But it's copper, so we put her in the hopper. Yeah, I try not to cuss too much during my daytime shows. And I also know there are a couple people that watch the stream with their children. So I just, I try not to, but the SHI word, I am prone to using that one. I think most little kids have heard it, and I don't like to use it when I think they might be in here, but I do. I slip. I'm a human, like everybody else. Oh, my phone's ringing. Let's see if I want to answer. Oh, I should, but I'm not gonna. That is the world famous Question Mark of Question Mark and the Mysterians, and he wants to cry 96 tears to me. No, he wants me to look something up on the internet for him, and I'm not able to do that right now. So I'll call him back in a little bit. He's got something going on. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to go in the copper hopper. Oh well. I'll get it out later. When I start rolling all this copper up or bagging it up or doing whatever it is I decide I'm going to do with all this copper. I got quite a bit of it accumulating, and little space for the storage of it. So I think we're going to do one more roll after this one, and then I'm going to go make sure my detector is charged and start getting my stuff gathered up for that adventure. I have broken the bracket that holds my little GoPro camera to my chest harness, so I've got to figure out how I'm going to do videos. I tried gluing the bracket back together, and as soon as I got out into the field with it a couple weeks ago, it broke again. So that's something I'm gonna have to replace, and there's nothing in the budget for that right now, so I'm gonna have to figure something else out. Rubber bands and duct tape and Gorilla Glue failed, so we'll have to try something else here shortly if I'm gonna do any video of today's adventure, which I want to, because I'm gonna take that vintage. No, we already super glued it. It didn't work. All right, Paula, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you hit the thumbs up button on your way in or on your way out. And we will see you again soonly. Much love your way. Hope everything this weekend goes groovy for you. Yeah, I've already tried super glue, Spud, and I tried Gorilla Glue, and both of those failed. They failed the field sobriety test, and they broke. So I'm just going to have to replace that. I'm going to look in my box. Someone gave me a set of all kinds of different accessories to go with a GoPro that was given to me when I first started my channel. Gentleman named Mike from Iffy Signals had upgraded his equipment, and he sent me a GoPro 3 and a little Canon camera, because I was doing my videos with my phone and my phone battery kept going dead. So anyway, then I got this little kit that had all the brackets and things to allow you to mount the GoPro to different things. I think I may have a wristband mount in there that I might be able to rig up. But since I'm going to do some testing with this vintage detector, I'd like to video that. So before I get out there, I need to 64D. Yeah, I need to try to rig something up. So after this roll, I'm probably gonna go work on that a little bit and try and finish this penny box off later this evening when I get back from the detecting adventure. I have so many videos that I have not done. I got one that's almost done now, that's from Thanksgiving year before last, but it has some interesting finds in it. I found a lot of things I had never dug before while detecting, so I think it's going to be kind of interesting. It was not what I expected, but it was a fun dig. Let's see if we got any double dye. Nope, that one's clean as the board of health. No doubling there. Almost done with this roll. But we did get that nice 1917 Wheatie this morning. I'd like to have seen a few more Wheaties, but one better than none. And I'm still excited about that Indian head. You don't always find those, especially not on the end. That's what I don't understand. How could you be sitting there? Because this was a customer roll, I think. No, it wasn't either. It was a machine roll. So, but I think I would have noticed an Indian head. But thank you to whoever did not. I now have that one. So I always am thankful when I get anything good out of the box. It's almost got to the wheat field on that one. Didn't quite get there. More copper in the hopper. A few more to go. And then I'll be packing my lunch. As my friend Jamie used to say, pack your lunch, we're going. Yeah, I have outlived a lot of my friends that were younger than myself. So I am very grateful for every day I get. More copper. Crap. More copper. More junk. More junk. More junk. And more junk. Followed by... Oh, we got so close, but not quite. So close, but not quite. Oh well, let's put that one aside though. I need to look at something on that. And we are done with that roll. So I think I am at a good stopping point. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rolls left to do later this evening. And then tomorrow, while I am watching, Sunday's usually my catch up on people's live streams day, and so I will sit there and do that and roll all these pennies up and get them ready to go back on Monday. Oh, the copper hop is getting heavy. So I think we're good on that, and I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we will take one more look at our, I think that's it. No, that's the 54. Oh, I forgot we got that. What did I do with the other one? Yeah, there's our find of the stream. 17. Alrighty, thank you everybody for stopping in. If you have not done so, please hit the like button on your way out. Make a comment. Do all those things that YouTube says have to be done in order for them to realize that I exist. So anyway, how did we do for this little impromptu stream? How many people actually came in? 16 people hit the like. That's good, because this wasn't a scheduled show. This was just a pop-up. I popped up. Alrighty, thank you, Mikey, for being here moderating. Mark Thomas was also here moderating for a bit. Thank you, everybody that came in. Spud, you have a great day. Yeah, I know it's late where you are. So we will see y'all probably later on this evening. Thank you so much. Much love to you all. Wish me luck on my detecting hunt. Bye-bye.